Hellfest is a new horror slasher film that I was actually very interested in seeing. I know that's very surprising to hear for those of you who know who I am. For those who don't know who I am and are confused to why that's surprising, let me explain it to you briefly. I don't like horror movies because I don't like to be scared. Generally speaking, the only way you will ever get me to go see a horror movie is if the premise itself is very interesting. That was the case when I went to see A Quiet Place earlier this year, and that was also the case going into this movie, because when I saw the trailer and I saw what this movie was going to be about, I couldn't help but be intrigued. The movie does follow a bit of a horror movie cliche. You know, you have this group of teenagers, well, not really teenagers, I want to say they're college students, probably early 20s. You have the lead girl, her name's Natalie. She's reunited with her best friend Brooke, who's living with her friend Taylor, and Taylor and Natalie, they don't entirely like each other just because they're very different people. You know, you have Natalie, who's just this normal, cool, everyday chick, and you have Taylor, who's just weird. But, you know, they all quickly bring up, it's like, oh, we never see you, Natalie. We're very glad to hear. Hey, we're going to go to Hellfest. It's this big, scary amusement park. We're all going to go. And guess what? That guy you like, he's going to be going too. You know, like a lot of horror movies do, very quickly they establish the placement of the characters. You know, who they are, what their backstories are. Because, you know, they don't want you to get too attached to them because, you know, it being a slasher, most, if not all of them, are probably going to die. So, you know, you have these three girls along with their boyfriends. They all go to this amusement park called Hellfest. And basically what Hellfest is, it's a really scary amusement park. Like, you ever hear what some amusement parks do in October or around Halloween time, like Six Flags? You know, they just make the park very scary. They add some attractions that are meant to be haunting. Hellfest is an amusement park that is solely made to scare the shit out of you. A lot of haunted houses, a lot of haunted mazes, a lot of scary rides. And what I loved seeing with the amusement park Hellfest is just what makes it unique. You know, the fact that it pushes the boundaries of what maybe certain amusement parks could do with horror. Like, there's actually a certain area in this park that you can go to where you have to sign a waiver to avoid liability because the employees, these actors, can go around and they can actually, like, physically put their hands on you, they can touch you, they can make it feel more real with horror. That's one thing I will say. The characters, they're fine, they do what they need to do, and the park itself looks interesting. But this right here is when the real plot of the movie kicks in. You have this guy, he sneaks into the amusement park, he throws on a mask that a lot of the other employees are wearing. It's kind of like a knockoff Michael Myers mask. And this guy's intention is literally to just go into this park and kill. But what definitely makes this unique is the fact that the characters run into him on more than a few occasions, and the whole time, they see him as nothing more than just an employee trying to scare them. There comes one point, the group is literally in this haunted maze, this haunted house of sorts. They get towards what appears to be the very end of it, and they run into this girl who just runs in front of them and she's screaming, help me, please, he's after me, he's chasing me. And, you know, that guy, he comes in, he's got this girl, he's grabbing her, and the characters are like, oh, whatever, you're just trying to scare us, this is all an act, this is bullshit. It even reaches a point that he's got his knife in his hand, he's got the girl literally in his clutches, he's ready to kill her, like he's taunting the characters, and the lead girl, she's like, go ahead, kill her. And so, you know, he stabs her in the heart, he kills her. At that point, the characters just need to step out, they're just like, holy fucking shit, that felt real. And that's what makes it interesting. Like, the characters, they think this guy's an employee trying to mess with them. In real life, his intentions are cruel and they are real. At one point, the leading girl, Natalie, the guy that she likes, he sneaks off to get her a toy because he wasn't able to win her one, so he sneaks off to try to see if he can get her one. At one point, he runs into the killer again, who's got like a big hammer with him. At first, the dude, you know, he thinks nothing of it. He looks at me, he's like, bro, you take your job way too seriously. But then he tries to get away from this guy, and the guy literally just starts attacking him. He throws him to the ground, and out of nowhere, he smashes the hammer on this guy's head, and he kills him. Because after Natalie gave him kind of the stare down in the maze when he killed that first girl, now he seems like he's coming after her. The killer has her in sight. So throughout the rest of the night, she's being stalked by this killer. She's being harassed by this killer. It reaches the point where Natalie tries to tell security. Her friends try to tell security what's going on, but they don't believe her because they're just all like, look, you guys came here to be scared. I'm not going to arrest someone for doing their job. And right there, you really realize the predicament that they're in because, yeah, it's like no one's going to believe us when we say someone is stalking us and scaring the shit out of us because essentially, they're just doing their job, as far as security is concerned anyway. And from there, you know, in typical slasher fashion, these characters continue to get killed off one by one. At one point, Taylor's boyfriend, he gets stuck in this maze, he runs into the killer, and the killer kills him by literally taking a needle and just stabbing it into his eye. The killer then tries to kill Taylor herself by keeping her trapped in a guillotine, trying to cut her head off, but she's able to get away, but then he's still able to chase her down, kill her, then kill Brooke's boyfriend. That is one thing I will say a little bit about the killings that are in this movie. they're not as graphic as I thought they'd be. Yes, in the beginning, the guy gets his head splattered, but the camera cuts away right as that happens. The other guy, he did get a needle shoved in his eye. That was pretty bloody. But really, everyone else that the killer kills, they just get stabbed once or twice, and then they die. Well, maybe it's really sick and morbid for me to say this, but I wish the movie was a little bit more gory. And granted, I don't watch a lot of slashers, but from what I know, from what I have seen, in these slasher movies, in like these hardcore rated R horror movies that aren't necessarily to be just scary, they're more to be gory, they're more to be, you know, bloody and whatever it is. These are usually more graphic. They are usually like when people die, they don't just die, they get destroyed. What's really the bummer is the movie is rated R, but honestly, as I was thinking about it, if they just took out the strong language in this movie, like the F-bombs and all that shit, I feel like the movie probably could have been a really strong PG-13. Like, you want a horror movie to be rated R for, like, the really graphic, scary, insane shit. Anyone could throw an F-bomb into a movie and make it rated R. I don't know, I guess for me, if it's gonna be a slasher movie and you're gonna kill your characters, make it some sick shit. Now we get to the final act of the movie. It's like the very end of Hellfest. You know, the final two girls were just trying to get away from this killer. They're trying to get through this final maze to try to get past him. The security's finally learned that this guy is actually a killer, so they're coming after him. And, you know, they get into this maze. They're able to hide from him. They're able to fight him off. They're able to get out. But unfortunately, security is not able to find the guy. He's able to escape. I will say, that final scene, it was pretty intense. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, the two girls are trying to hide from him. They're trying to avoid him. You know, you see the fear in their faces, and I was able to buy it. But, you know, similar to a lot of horror movies, it ends essentially with the monster, the killer, getting away, and you seeing a little bit more about what their intentions are. But, you know, this killer, he goes home, and, you know, you see an entire collection of masks that he keeps in his garage. He puts the pictures of Natalie making out with her boyfriend from a photo booth. He puts them in the closet with all of his stuff. And, you know, he returns home, and there's this very little girl who runs up and greets him, calls him daddy, and, you know, he gives her the toy that Natalie's boyfriend was gonna give her before he got killed. And yeah, that right there is pretty much where the movie ends. So all in all, for me, I will say Hellfest was an average movie. The actors in this movie, they do a fine job. None of them really give, you know, groundbreaking performances. I don't know who any of them are in this movie, and I can tell you if they're gonna get work later on in their careers, it's probably not gonna be because of this movie, but they do what they need to do. The story of this movie, the premise of this movie, that is by far the best part of it because it's very original. You know, going into a haunted house or haunted amusement park where there's actually someone in there who really is trying to kill you, that's never been done before. I thought that worked so well for it. I was very happy they went with something so original. That being said, the movie didn't really scare me. The movie doesn't have as much of an intense factor as I would have liked it to have. Like I said, the movie could have been a little bit more gory with some of the deaths that happened. I do feel they held back a little bit on there, and maybe I'm really sick for saying that, but I'm just being honest. And the formula for this movie, it's very predictable. It's very systemic to what horror movies do. You know, you have the characters, you meet them, don't really grow attached to them, most of them die, couple survive in the end, and the killer gets away. But in the end, although this isn't a movie I'm probably gonna see again, it was a movie that had its enjoyment. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe. I will see you all next time.